They're the wild ones, custom choppers. But where did they come from and how did they get their name? Learn how one American industry went from outlaw to mainstream. Witness how backyard garage builders and fabricators became the backbone of the highly successful motorcycle industry, going from old school crude to high-tech motorized works of art.
The 1951 Post magazine cover, and it just got me going. I said, I gotta have one of those.
The passion for the motorcycle, the loudness, the rudeness of it.
When I got my first bike, I painted it, worked on it, made a chopper out of it. Just been doing it ever since.
There's a chicken in every pot, a chopper in every driveway.
"1901 was a year of wonder. It was a time of explorations, adventures, and new inventions. One such invention was created by three young men who decided that they wanted to eliminate the work of pedaling a bicycle. In 1903, William Harley, Arthur and Walter Davidson formed the Harley-Davidson Motor Company and were instrumental in starting what has become one of America's largest industries, the motorcycle industry. By the 1930s, over 300 American motorcycle companies came and went, and by the end of World War II, only three remained: Harley-Davidson, Indian, and Excelsior Henderson. Hi, I'm Dave Nichols, editor-in-chief of Easyriders magazine and V-Twin magazine. I've witnessed the rise and near fall of the American motorcycle industry over the years, as well as its current extraordinary success. The loyalty of the American biker not only saved this industry, but allowed it to flourish and grow to unprecedented levels. Join us now as we take a close look at one of the most dynamic and exciting avenues of the two-wheel world, the custom chopper. We will witness how choppers were born and how the chopper building industry has become what it is today: corporate big business, individual fame, and plenty of fortune. As World War II was coming to an end, many American industries were struggling to stay alive. During this time, over 50% of Harley-Davidson's production went to supply the war effort with a WLA military motorcycle painted in military camo green. The WLAs were big, heavy motorcycles, but they served Uncle Sam well and aided our troops to victory. When the war ended and our troops returned home, many of them brought back WLA models to the States and would spend countless hours in their garages tinkering with these motorized war horses. The dilemma was what to do with these clunky machines. How could you make them faster? How could you make them cool?
The early bikes were called bobbers because you'd cut the rear fender off or take the front fender and turn it backwards and put it on the rear and run around without a front fender. That was kind of a bobber or a chopper, and then from then I think it went to like 21-inch front wheels and ape hangers and upswept pipes and things like that.
Well, you better have a hacksaw and a torch and an anvil and a little bit of talent, or you're not going to have a chopper. And that was all there was to it.
Early bikers were chopping everything they could off the old stock Harley-Davidsons. It was no wonder how the first choppers got their name. But why did America's bikers go through so much trouble to customize their bikes? Why? Because you can never leave well enough alone when it comes to cutting up a bike and making it go faster. It isn't enough to look cool. A chopper has to sound cool and offer its owner a white-knuckle ride on the wild side. It's all about freedom, and it's all about the ride. A new breed of bike builder was born, and their loud, wild choppers exploded on the American scene with all the fury of a double-barrel shotgun blast. As bikers roared into small towns on their rebel machines, looking for new adventures and the next party, the average citizen was more than a little anxious. Many were scared. It looked like America wasn't about to lay out the welcome mat for these wild ones just yet.
It was very mixed because the era that it was in, everybody was coming out of the Second World War. You know, nothing had happened yet with the hippie generation, so to speak. So everybody was like really straight. So when they saw something strange like us with the bikes and the noise, they just kind of froze.
Stares of blankness. You know, it was cool. Just people looking at you going, oh my God, is he gonna kill us? You know, because the machine and the attitude that you have when you ride something, you have so much passion for that. It's the whole image. It's cool. It makes you feel good.
The lifestyle for the motorcycle, people that are in it, it's really changed in back in the, you know, in the early 80s and the late 70s, it was hard when you went on a run to even get a motel room. They would not let you stay. You'd pull up in front of the motel and they'd turn the vacancy sign around, or even a lot of little restaurants and coffee shops. They didn't really want you in there.
Much of America's fear of bikers was born after an incident occurred during the July 4th weekend, 1947, in the sleepy little farming town of Hollister, California. Many hundreds of bikers swarmed all over this Pacific Coast town to be part of the annual motorcycle races. Much has been written about the occurrence at Hollister, and little is truly known. One story has it that two outlaw biker clubs, the Booze Fighters and the Tulare Raiders, led a riot against local authorities. This is, of course, the story the media grabbed onto. The other side of the coin is that local youth started the ruckus after a few drinks too many. Reporters spotted gold, knew what kind of sensational stories sold, and were on a rampage to embellish the story of the Hollister incident. They went so far as to stage photos of bikers in unruly positions amid a sea of empty beer bottles. After the incident, the AMA, American Motorcycle Association, called motorcycle clubs who would race outside their sanction outlaw clubs. Reporters painted a picture of an America under siege by a new threat, the outlaw biker.
The first run I ever went on was a run to Tecate with many of the clubs. And it was how much can you drink, how stupid can you get, you know, just pass out, wake up, start going again, no holds barred, everything went. And that's, the ones I went to was where all the stories came from. I mean, we did everything that you think you do at all these other events. Pure and simple, and nobody made anything about it. It's just what you did. You know, the booze, the drugs, the women, everything. It was just, that's how it was. There was no pretense.
The AMA was quoted as saying that 99% of all motorcyclists were good, God-fearing, respectable Americans with jobs and families, that the problem element of the riding community amounted to no more than 1% of riders. The bikers being blamed for being rebels without a cause grabbed onto this distinction as a badge of honor, becoming known as one-percenters. Many outlaw bikers in the early 1950s were military veterans and rebellious youth looking for kicks. While chopper-riding bikers were no saints, the media quickly turned the biker lifestyle into the stuff of Wild West outlaws, making them Vikings of the open road. Lock your doors and hide your daughters. Here comes the thunderous roar of choppers.
The traditional biker when I was young was a rather raunchy, dirty, you know, filthy animal. But he wanted to be that way. He wanted to be that way, okay?
Hollywood got wind of the outlaw motorcycle image and were quick to pump up America's dread of bikers with Stanley Kramer's The Wild One, a Hollister-inspired work of fiction starring Marlon Brando. This led to a slew of low-budget biker cult films of the 1960s and 70s.
Men with no conscience, they drifted where the winds of lust carried them.
While these cult films did not portray the biker lifestyle too accurately, they roared into drive-in theaters across the country and ignited a spark in the American consciousness. Films like Roger Corman's Wild Angels led the way for less ambitious cycle cinema, such as Angels Hard as They Come, Hell's Angels on Wheels, Born Losers, The Glory Stompers, and on ad nauseum. But the movie that will always be remembered as the anthem of the chopper generation and biker lifestyle is the 1969 hit road film, Easyrider.
For me, the movie was more of an anthem at the end of the beatnik era. That was when the last of the on-the-road attitudes was coming down, and I saw it was going to come down bad. And I guess, unfortunately, I was right.
With all this misleading, often bad publicity, the American biker and his chopper were thrown into the spotlight. The downside of this was that bikers were often harassed by local law enforcement throughout the U.S. Everywhere they went, bikers were pulled over and searched, often cited for many minor infractions. One of the main questions lingering over their customized machines was, were these garage-built contraptions safe on the highways?
They would first stop you, throw you up against the wall, frisk you, half-strip search you, kick you in the knees, bat you with a baton, hit you in the back of the head, then ask you for your driver's license. When a club we won't mention was causing a little trouble, I got stopped 29 times in 30 days and completely stripped down, frisked, the whole 9 yards, 29 times in 30 days. Same cop. I think that's called harassment, but what do you do about it?
With treatment like this, it was hard to enjoy the lifestyle, and with all this came other federal government departments, like the Department of Transportation, who stepped in and began asking the question that's still lingering over them today. Are these garage bike builders building custom choppers that are safe for the highways?
As far as safety was concerned, it wasn't a concern. I mean, what are you talking about? I mean, why did we care about that? But one thing that came out of that was they got the Department of Transportation excited. The choppers weren't safe. I built a bike, and we sent it to Washington, D.C. Paco was involved in it, and a couple other companies, and it was tested. Had a 12-inch front end, Springer, the whole 9 yards. It drove, stopped, handled better than any bike that was presented. But then something even better happened. Harley said, well, maybe that's okay, but they don't know what they're doing. And that's when it struck a nerve to everybody. We found out in our archives of Honda, Harley, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Yamaha, everybody, they had no documents showing how a single-track vehicle functioned. So myself, Joe, and a few other people got together through the NCCSI, which was an organization at that time, and we wrote with an engineer the single-track vehicle dynamics thing that's now accepted by everybody. Harley didn't have it, but they said our bikes were unsafe. Now, if you look at a new time bike, like the Night Train, it's got a 2 or 4 inch over front end, it's got 34-degree rake, it's got a 160 tire. Hello?
A dim light was beginning to shine on the industry, but as custom bike builders kept proving themselves, Americans were still not accepting it. When we return, we'll see how aftermarket custom parts came to be and how custom bikes saved the motorcycle industry in their darkest hour.
In the past, a lot of guys were cobbling up parts.
Custom stuff out of anything. You know, doorknobs, bed knobs.
The custom chopper motorcycle. We've heard how this stretched out mean machine got its name, and it has little to do with design and functionality, and everything to do with chopping off what you don't need to create a fast, even dangerous ride. The custom bike builders of yesterday, and a handful of builders today, bend, stretch, chop, and weld raw metals and materials into shape. Custom parts for your custom chopper didn't exist in the 1960s. There were no aftermarket parts shops open, so if you wanted something special for your bike, you had to make it yourself. Fabricating custom parts for a bike made the chopper as unique as the rider. In those days, if you didn't build your bike yourself, well, bikers believed you had no business riding it.
To get parts done right, polishing, chrome, and make stuff fit right. You know, most Harleys are kind of the same, but there's a lot of differences. So there wasn't a lot of stuff you just walk in and buy.
We built our own bikes. You couldn't pick up a catalog and order a part back then. If you wanted a custom part built, you had to make it yourself. And that was a lot of fun back then because it was, you know, the guys that really put their heart and souls into their motorcycles. And for the most part, the guys that were riding back then built their own motorcycles.
When I was 15, watching these older guys with chopping their Triumphs and things and their Harleys would make bike components and custom stuff out of anything. You know, doorknobs, bed knobs. I mean, it didn't matter, pieces of lawn furniture or part of the barbecue grill and stuff, you know.
Many of these small, offbeat bike shops rapidly caught on. Instead of making one-off parts, they began mass-producing chopper frames, long front ends, ape-hanger handlebars, and even tall sissy bars. Many of these businesses went on to become huge aftermarket companies. One of the first companies was founded by Joe Terezi and Mill Blair back in the 60s and was called Psychedelic Choppers.
Well, the psychedelic chopper thing evolved out of us just making parts for people. We had to have a place of business. And we started making more and more parts, and psychedelic choppers turned into D&D distributors. Then we started making Springer front ends, frames, lots of stuff like that. And then Jammer came along because we needed a bigger building, a bigger everything, so we got bigger and kept on making more and more parts. So we had like 4,000 parts back in the early 70s.
What started out as a couple of guys just making custom parts and repairing broken down Harleys turned out to be the beginning of the aftermarket custom parts industry. The small shops expanded, got into mass production, and created a successful new branch in the motorcycle industry. Soon, many companies followed as custom chopper builders and custom shops began popping up across the U.S.
My first product was a ram horn handlebars. That was my first product. And then I think I started making a little fiberglass rear fender. And then later on we got a little more serious. We were narrowing springers. You could buy springers pretty reasonable, and we would narrow them and extend them.
Aftermarket custom parts opened up a whole new highway for the chopper motorcycle industry by making a wide range of cool parts and accessories.
In the past, a lot of guys were cobbling up parts. They looked okay, but they weren't precision. They might fit this bike, but they wouldn't fit the next bike, things like that. They gave us the ideas to make some of the stuff that's out there today.
In June of 1971, the first issue of Easyriders magazine hit newsstands across America. It was and is a magazine dedicated to the biker lifestyle and wild choppers. Easyriders quickly gained popularity worldwide as the biker's Bible.
The magazines have, of course, done so much for the industry because you're able to see what other people have built and done. And like your Easy Rider magazine, I've been fortunate enough to have stuff in there for, I would say, 32 years. And it really helps if you're in business to get the exposure. It's great, and the industry would be nowhere without the magazines.
I think Easy Rider magazine, when it originally started, was definitely geared more to the outlaw style guy, and as time has gone by, Easy Rider Paisano Publications has geared their magazines to family magazines such as V-Twin, which is Easy Rider magazine.
This lifestyle would be an obscure pursuit, by a bunch of weirdos and groupies who didn't fit into society, if magazines and media in general hadn't adopted it and hadn't taken it under the wing and said, hey, let's make this glamorous. Let's turn this into something that can be attractive. And they've done a very, very good job. Easy Riders, of course, is the granddaddy of all the magazines, but there's a host of other magazines that cater to different types of motorcyclists.
Easyriders magazine acted as an inspiration to chopper builders, showcasing the latest trends in bike building, new parts, and accessories. It also gave bikers a sounding board for their lifestyle and kept them up to date with news and biker-inspired entertainment. Easyriders became more than a magazine. It became a way of life and a point of view, introducing many Americans to another world. It offered a glimpse behind the secretive veil of the biker experience. Easyriders also introduced the world to the art of David Mann. David is a great artist and a true biker. His paintings capture the essence of the biker lifestyle, and some say Dave Mann's art heavily influenced what has become known as the classic chopper look. His exaggerated super long front ends and sky-high sissy bars were often mimicked by bike builders, and the rest, as they say, is history.
I think with anybody that gets involved with the motorcycle industry and becomes interested in the industry, one of the key books that you pick up is the Easy Riders magazine or any of those magazines that are in that grouping. And of course, David Mann is involved in that heavily. So for me, David Mann was very instrumental in my drive to be more involved with the industry, to see something along those lines where he tends to combine some of my interests of both the motorcycle industry and the hot rodding industry.
I think David Mann has given the biker enthusiast or the biker lifestyle more material to work with, because his imagination is inspiring these guys to build what he draws, which is really neat. It's a neat concept, which is what a lot of bike builders do too.
The way I used to paint, sometimes I'd exaggerate things accidentally, not meaning to. And I guess a lot of styles, from what I've heard, have taken off from my paintings. Say I'd maybe exaggerate a front end a little bit, or a rake on a frame, and I did it accidentally, not meaning to, because I had no idea that long front ends were going to be a style for a while, and people have credited me with the extended front ends, and I kind of like that. It's a good feeling to say that I created a new design, a new creation.
From viewing it from the past, I'd say Dave created a good portion of what we think is the chopper, the classic chopper. He refined it in art.
As David Mann viewed and lived the biker lifestyle, bike builders around the world were inspired by his works of art. But the average American had a very different view of these bad boys on two wheels. To Joe Citizen, the Easyriders of the 1970s and 80s were seen as modern-day outlaws.
Well, the world did turn away from choppers for a while. Actually, Harley was trying to make people go away from choppers.
The high of the 60s biker lifestyle and the custom chopper scene of the 70s was about to fall on hard times. In fact, by the mid-70s, many small shops and aftermarket chopper suppliers had to close their doors. Harley-Davidson sales were down, and on January 7, 1969, the American Machine and Foundry Company, or AMF, merged with America's last motorcycle company. At the time, Harley was only selling 15,000 motorcycles per year domestically. AMF poured millions into Harley and pumped up production to unheard of levels. Harley was making more bikes, but their reliability was suffering, and the riding public knew it. At the same time, a Japanese motorcycle company named Honda was shooting for the mainstream American market with their ad campaigns, "You meet the nicest people on a Honda." Harley tried to appeal to mainstream America as well by building entry-level bikes and staying away from their main and loyal customer, the American biker. Harley believed that the outlaw biker image was something to be avoided at all costs, yet it is the image of the rebellious chopper rider that helped to save Harley-Davidson in the 1980s. For a while, it was a very bumpy ride. By 1978, AMF wanted to dump Harley-Davidson, realizing that the company would never produce as many motorcycles as Honda. On June 23, 1981, 12 Harley-Davidson executives, including Willie G. Davidson, bought back the Harley-Davidson Motor Company from AMF for a mere $75 million. Their new company slogan was screamed across the highways of America: "The Eagle soars alone." The American motorcycle industry was reborn, and the best was yet to come.
It really took a big upswing, and bikes got better. And then I think that's when we started getting more people interested, where you had some of the movie stars and celebrities and starting to ride a little bit, and that's when it got better for everybody too, as far as eating at restaurants, and it got more accepted everywhere.
With the introduction of Harley's reliable Evolution motor in 1984, custom motorcycles were on the rise once again. The new era of custom choppers has expanded the minds and building talents of old and new bike builders alike. Today's choppers combine old-school looks with the latest technology and have given birth to a new world of aftermarket chopper parts and accessories, allowing today's custom builders to create true works of motorized art.
Today, the enthusiasm and the passion has grown to a larger percentage of the population. So that has enabled the manufacturers to manufacture in volume and make things more affordable. So today is the best time to ever build a chopper or do a custom type bike of any kind, because it's the cheapest in comparison to what the wages were then and what they are now, and so on and so on. So now's the time, and it's growing. It really is.
As the custom chopper and the enormous aftermarket industry roars into mainstream society, some builders complain that the true creativity and craftsmanship of building a truly one-off motorcycle is a dying art form. After all, many of the parts available for custom bikes today are created from the touch of a computer keyboard in concert with CNC cutting machines. These amazing machines can take a solid block of billet aluminum and turn it into a wild custom wheel while you wait. What used to take a builder a week of grinding, cutting, smoothing, and polishing can now be mass-produced in a fraction of the time and cost. So in a world of innovative, high-tech parts and products at your fingertips, where's the individuality? Where's the craftsmanship? Has the industry taken away the ability to build a bike from scratch?
Today we're producing stuff on computerized machines, and with our CAD CAM and everything, parts are turning out, basically perfect every time.
Today's aftermarket companies and parts manufacturers have a great deal invested in their CNC machines. These machines are able to work around the clock, making thousands of custom parts, exactly the same each time.
Yeah, there's quite a bit involved in making a belt drive. What we do here is we actually start off with our own aluminum foundry, and we pour our castings.
The aftermarket motorcycle industry has come a long way, and to keep up with this ever-growing expansion, it must constantly turn out new tricks for the trade. An almost endless array of custom chopper parts have turned many small businesses into major corporations almost overnight. Though the aftermarket is filled with new products, eager consumers continue buying them up.
In more recent times, custom bike building became something that was catalog driven, custom chrome of course being at the forefront of that, where you didn't have to make anything. You could buy all the parts out of a catalog, but you still had to buy them all individually, and you still had to understand what each one did and how they all fit together, and had to have some technical know-how to put it together.
Custom Chrome, also known as CCI, started distributing parts back in 1970 and has seen the custom bike industry roller coaster through the years. The company has been at the helm of this industry and has developed many innovative ideas that have helped form today's custom bike kits for consumers. These kits let you build a custom bike from scratch right in your own garage. By establishing close ties with custom bike builders, CCI has become a leader in the field of do-it-yourself bike kits.
The bike kit concept wasn't one that someone just woke up and said, we're going to create a bike kit. In fact, we've seen just over the 3 or 4 years that from the first introduction of our bike kit, we've seen the bike kit market evolve.
The role custom bike builders have to play in Custom Chrome's bike building business can be best described using this analogy, and I know it's sometimes overused and sometimes used in a negative context, but the bike builders out there are the rock stars of our industry. They're the names that people respond to.
A bike builder who is quickly rising in the ranks of the custom bike scene is Kevin Alsop of Big Bear Choppers. Kevin has nearly single-handedly revolutionized the custom bike kit market with his Wild Reaper and Venom chopper kits. You assemble them, you paint them, and you're ready to ride your very own custom chopper that you built yourself.
One of the ones that we're working very closely with as far as a new builder is Kevin Alsop from Big Bear Choppers. We are working on not only supplying him and being one of his largest suppliers on his projects, but also getting some feedback from him on designs and products that he offers to really create a partnership amongst the companies.
What Kevin Alsop and Big Bear Choppers offers us is another name brand builder who's attracting a lot of attention in the motorcycle world and magazines. He has a strong brand. He has strong demand for his products or products with his name on them out there in motorcycle land.
Well, what happened with the Custom Chrome Down and Dirty Rigid, how that came about was I didn't have enough capital to make my own frame jigs and to make my own stuff. So in the beginning, I took what I saw that Custom Chrome was doing, which is a very affordable rigid, which is the same lines I was thinking along, took their bike and just offered it at a killer price.
When we presented the Venom kit to Custom Chrome as a kit with all the components, with the price list, with the video, took the bike over there, they said right off the bat, we want that bike kit.
Custom Chrome put Kevin's Venom kit to the test and turned it over to their R&D kit bike manager, Steve Curran. Steve had 1 week to complete the new Venom bike so that it could be displayed at the annual Laughlin River Run. The finished Venom bike was revealed to the public at the CCI truck in Laughlin, and it blew people away. They just couldn't believe that this very custom-looking bike came from a bike kit. To live the life of a biker and ride a custom chopper is something that many people could only dream about not too long ago. But the image of the outlaw biker has changed over the years. Today, the guy in black leather that rides up next to you on a loud chopper might just be your dentist or lawyer. Today, motorcycling is enjoyed by more people than ever before. Doctors, accountants, nurses, and mothers have all found the thrill of the open road. When we return, we'll take a look at how Kevin and Mona Alsop of Big Bear Choppers started out and how they went from outlaw to mainstream. We'll also check out biker runs and rallies to discover that these days you meet the nicest people on choppers. A new day is dawning for bikers all over the world. Word is spreading that the wild ones are now the mild ones, with bikers from all walks of life participating in charity runs and events to help those less fortunate. The thrill and adventure found behind the throttle of a Big V twin has reached many thousands of new riders of every age and class. Bike runs and rallies have changed too, and many feel it's a change for the better.
A lot of people think that being a biker is about drinking and being rowdy and carrying on, and that's just BS. That's a myth. You know, that's just rubbish. Outlaws have that image because that is a lifestyle all unto its own. But that lifestyle includes motorcycles, but that doesn't make you a biker. What makes you a biker is having passion for your motorcycle and about being all about motorcycles, and that's all you think about. That is what it's all about.
The new generation of bikers are people who have, they perhaps haven't made the same commitment to the lifestyle as the older generation, but when they're in the lifestyle, they're in it 100%. They dress like bikers, they ride like bikers, they certainly put on the miles.
You'll find motorcycle runs, races, and rallies held everywhere in the world. Hundreds of thousands of bikers attend Daytona Bike Week, Laconia, and Sturgis each year, and they bring many millions of dollars to these cities' coffers. It's no wonder that bikers are now welcomed rather than scorned in towns across America.
Well, I think it's fun for everybody today. It's just safer, cleaner. There's less drugs, virtually no drugs. Alcohol, fair amount. A lot of gorgeous motorcycles, a lot of beautiful women. I think the women are better looking today than they used to be. Maybe that's me, I don't know.
I think that bike runs and rallies have changed in the respect that they're definitely more family orientated. People won't put up with rudeness and misbehavior.
Today's bike runs and rallies are mainstream and lots of fun. One such event is held up in Big Bear Lake, California. Big Bear Choppers puts on a poker run, ride-in bike show, and rally called Ride the Mountain. Thousands of Southern California riders came to party, check out their custom bikes, and show off their own. It was a day of brotherhood, wild rides, good food, and a chance to catch the tunes of America's premier biker band, the Fried Brothers Band.
Hello, wheels rolling
Kevin and I wanted to have a show because basically it's not big enough here to do anything here at our shop. And we're close with a lot of our customers. A lot of our customers come up on a regular basis, wanted us to have a run, you know, something that we can all go to, have a party, enjoy ourselves, and see everybody and show off their bikes.
Biker runs and rallies are a win-win situation for all. They offer a positive image for bikers, and many are used for raising millions of dollars to benefit charity organizations such as the Muscular Dystrophy Association, Bikers Against Diabetes, various children's hospitals, homeless shelters, veterans funds, and many more. Each year, the Love Ride in Southern California alone raises over $1 million for MDA, as well as other charities. So the biker image has changed in many ways over the years. Both bikers and the companies they've created have become much more family-oriented. The aftermarket chopper world has expanded to include a whole new generation of motorcyclists and custom bike builder. It takes more than the ability to wrench on bikes to keep a chopper shop going. Today, builders have to be business savvy as well. Mona and Kevin Alsop of Big Bear Choppers are the perfect combination. While Kevin is busy designing and building his latest custom chopper, Mona is busy managing and controlling their growing business as well as their growing family.
The guys that want to have a chopper, on the other side of the fence, the regular civilians, they feel, the public, they feel isolated from the bikers. And the bikers felt isolated because they didn't have enough money to go buy these machines that cost 40 and 50 grand. So why not make them affordable so everybody could have one? And everybody can live the dream.
Kevin and Mona also have a vision, and it's happening right before their eyes. Their chopper in every garage philosophy and cutting-edge bike kit designs has the bike industry raving. Some industry insiders even say they're leading the way into the future of the aftermarket chopper. Their Reaper and Venom bike kits are rapidly spreading across America, and what started out as a ma and pa bike shop has become a chopper company that ships out 60 bike kits per month.
You know, with the Reaper was cool because that was my passion, and that just came straight from the heart. The Venom, I wanted to flip the coin. I wanted to do something opposite to a hardcore look because there are two sides to the coin. And so with the Venom, I wanted to get that real sleek look, nice flowing lines, a softer look, but something that was cool. It definitely got the cool factor in it. We definitely got to keep the cool factor no matter what, whether it was shooting for hardcore or sophisticated, we still got to have the coolness in it.
Kevin and Mona Alsop understand the business of building and running a custom motorcycle shop. The heavy competition that surrounds the industry has proven to be tough for them at times, but Mona and Kevin are breaking through those barriers and striving to new heights.
The bikes are getting so far out there, it seems like the people are really starting to appreciate the one-off handmade stuff.
We have witnessed the birth, growth, and evolution of the custom chopper into a thriving, dynamic industry that continues to change and better itself. What began as the ride of outlaws is now the iron steed of choice for a whole new generation of biker. But before you can have fun riding your motorcycle, you not only have to build it, you have to get it registered and insured. Anyone who has ever built a custom bike will tell you this can be a real hassle.
When the motorcycle industry was a small band of rugged individualists building bikes in their garage, we were below the radar screen. Didn't really matter what went on in the motorcycle business. But now the numbers are so significant that we're no longer below the radar screen.
This is not a special construction bike. This is a manufacturing. And that we had to do to take the nightmare out of the bikes being special construction.
Significant progress has indeed come to the custom chopper bike kit, and customers flood the phones every day to order these beautiful machines.
We've been successful in finding and contracting some key individuals who are going to help us through that process.
The chopper industry includes a well-respected group of artisans dedicated to pushing the custom envelope. And we have experienced this industry's dramatic turnaround and phenomenal growth, bringing Americans closer to the power, the thrill, and the beauty of today's custom choppers. But what's next for this ever-changing industry? Where will this wild ride lead us from here?
Today's choppers are sport bikes, you know, big European influence.
It's good all the way around. Everybody who gets a motorcycle, it's always an outlet. That's why they still come in.
You know, now choppers should have a high-tech influence. They should be able to run hard, stop well, you know, perform well.
I think it's just going to keep going. I don't know where it's hard to say where it'll end up, but the bikes are getting so far out there. It seems like the people are really starting to appreciate the one-off handmade stuff.
I don't know that I would ever take and compare the builder of yesterday to the builder of today, in that I believe that it is the builder of yesterday that has built the builder of today. And I believe that to compare those two, or to say which one would be better in my eyes, I think would be a crime.
Companies like Big Bear Choppers are setting the stage for the future design of custom choppers. Companies like Custom Chrome, S&S Cycle, and Belt Drives Limited keep their fingers on the pulse of this ever-changing industry and supply the power to drive the passion of custom choppers. New ideas fuel the chopper industry, and the combined efforts of the companies we've met make it easy to get everything you need to build your dream bike. Well, what do you say? The road is calling. I'm Dave Nichols. Thank you for watching. Ride easy.